Hi class. One of the really useful design elements of user interface design are cards, what we call cards. And they're used to put a whole bunch of information that is of all different kinds of categories into one more cohesive designed element. Now, for example, I worked at Scholastic and we would have these books. By their standards, they're required to put the entire title. The longest one we had to work with was Captain Underpants and the Invasion of the Incredibly Naughty Cafeteria Ladies from Outer Space. This was one of the requirements. You can see every cover could be different size. It could be horizontal. It could be very long, very small, very big. And they all had to look kind of good in a row of many things together. So it started to become really popular with Pinterest. This is kind of the style of the cards they used it. Many newspapers have it. So you have the main story, then you click on that sort of section, and then you get into the longer article from there. This is very useful when you're trying to go across device platform from a tablet to a mobile to desktop. Then you can use the cards, kind of shuffle into each of the layouts, and it still looks kind of the same style of the website. This is a good example to see how many different kinds of categories you have in there. Video, static images, maybe audio, these badges, some of them have headlines, some of them don't, icons. All of these still look together as if they were in one layout. It's still attractive to look at, even though there's so many different elements. And since you're trying to get the same experience on different responsive design layouts, it's easy to reshuffle those cards. If you have a lot of text, I think icons are sort of the salt in the soup. They make it more attractive to look at. So this is a card where I think a few things went wrong. For example, the headline seems a little too small compared to the text. And if it was bigger, the line height could also be tighter, so it looks like one piece of element. It's not a whole running text. So a little bigger and a little less high line height. So also labels are sort of boring. If you have too many of them, it just gets cluttered and too much. So clean up, go a little Marie Kondo on that thing and see which ones are really needed. If there's a phone number, it's immediately clear, or this is your name, this is your title, then you can delete those labels. You don't need them. I did a lot of different layouts for Scholastic on these cards. There were also two conflicting side of stakeholders. The salespeople wanted to push the prices and the sales item, and the content wanted to lead back to their pages. And one side really loved the red as the call to action. The other side wanted everything purple. So we went back and forth. Here's an example where everything kind of lines up, which works well if you have the same kind of title length and books, but it's not always possible. This is an example of the details when you click into a book and you get rows below for other books, but it's still lined up, visually easy to see. But it doesn't always work when you have longer titles or bigger covers. They might shift, but then you can see the red buttons get into this kind of like wobble effect. So we try to avoid that too, but it's sometimes not possible unless you make a card really, really big. This one's kind of more subtle and smaller. A lot of galleries or portfolio sites would use cards as well. And here's an architect, and you can see all the projects go down. Still kind of cool to design with cards, so it's a good element to keep in mind.